First, we're going to go into proper back mount positioning. So I'm going to be here with Nate. Let's say Nate's sitting and I'm behind him. When I'm in a good back mount with Nate, what I'm really looking for is my chest directly between his shoulder blades, my hips directly on the back of his hips here, and either both hooks or body triangle, or there's one hook variation, but generally I'm going to look for both hooks, and then some form of an over-under grip, whether I'm here, whether I'm here, no matter how you slice it. The idea is that, and the nerdy terminology we'll use from time to time, is attachment and alignment. So I want attachment and alignment on the upper and the lower body. So when I'm here with Nate, right now, I am aligned with his upper body and I'm attached. And I'm aligned with my lower body and I'm also attached. If, perchance, I happen to be somewhat more like this, now I might have alignment and attachment with my upper body, but my lower body isn't really aligned. I still have decent attachment here. I don't have both hooks, but I'm kind of losing one of my little elements there. So the game of back mount is essentially, as we get into back mount escapes and further parts of the curriculum, the game of back mount is Nate is always trying to get rid of some of those elements. He's trying to get rid of attachment, or even if I stay attached, he's going to slide out to the side. I'm trying to get rid of alignment, so I'm still attached, but it's doing me no good. I'm not on his back anymore. So he's trying to change our orientation. So that's the idea. Alignment and attachment on both sides is the ideal in terms of positioning. If Nate's up on his knees, the game is that if I have one hook, like a single hook with Nate, I'm going to look to attach to his far shoulder. So I get an underhook on his far shoulder and my hands clasped together. You'll notice my sternum is directly between the shoulder blades where it should be, and I'm also really hard to be shaken off when I control opposite corners. However, if I was here with Nate, my sternum is kind of off his body and I don't really control him very well. I'm very easy to be dumped off. So if I have both hooks, now I have alignment and attachment with the lower body. It doesn't really matter which side I go to because I can keep my sternum where it needs to be. However, if I only have one hook, I'm always going to go to the far side to get my underhook. Another few little key details. If Nate's sitting again, we are here. When I get my grips, I always am going to be looking to grab over my own arm with my underhooking arm. So my choking arm, as we'll call it, because that's what it's going to do, is always covered by my non-choking arm. So if I'm here, this hand is covering. Even if I bring it up, this hand is covering. This is the first hand. The reason being because when Nate scrambles to defend, it's going to be the top hand he scrambles to defend first. If I can still choke him, fantastic. So now we'll talk about proper finishing for the rear naked choke, which is the other portion of this little curriculum segment. As I'm here with Nate, even if he just stays seated, I'm going to be on my knees behind him. From this position, the idea is that the rear naked choke is not just about, all right, one arm under his neck, and I grab my own arm, and I just squeeze the heck out of him. I pull in and I squeeze him, and eventually he's got to tap out. That's kind of like the gist from the WWE, but it's not necessarily the ideal way to go for rear naked choke. So when I'm here with Nate, what I want to do is I want to have this arm of mine snake through, and I really want to get it saran wrapped tight around his neck. I don't want to get it like this kind of tight. I want to make it wrapped around his neck. Very, very, very snug. And generally, this is not going to be by doing this. It's going to be by doing some variation of this. The scraping with that spatula of my thumb. And there's plenty of setups. We don't necessarily need to go into all of them here. Scraping through, I grab the back of Nate's shoulder. At which point, this hand is not going to shoot forward and grab my bicep, because Nate will grab this hand and prevent me from choking. So, when this one comes under, my second hand will go behind Nate's head, knuckles facing his skull, and then I'll just grab my bicep afterwards. So I'm here, maybe I'm defending his arm, this one drops, and I grab my own bicep. Boom, it's on. Alternatively, I can be here, maybe I'm underneath, I'll pull this out, I'll bring my hand on top of my knuckles and shoot it back behind. No matter how you slice it, now I'm in nice and tight. Whether I want to go here or I want to punch it through, I'm never giving him exposure to this. Yep, so let him defend. So once I'm in position, the method of finishing is going to be different people have different methods. Some people like to pinch the elbows together. I personally kind of like to draw my elbows back. The way I think about it is, I want to have my biceps nice and tight, and then I want to engage my lats. So I keep my shoulder and my head in the back of Nate's head, and I engage my shoulder and my lats, and I wrench back, and that's going to force my submission. Really, really important I stay tight on the back of Nate's head. I can be super tight in the front, but if there's room, Nate's going to tuck his chin backwards. Yep. And he's going to be able to get under. So, My kind of caveman brow here is going to be in the back of his head. My shoulder is nice and snug to the base of his neck. I punch through, and now once I'm in position again, my biceps are going to squeeze. I pull back with my elbows. I get a nice easy submission for the rear naked choke.